to the frequency that amplifies those voices, stories and reports that make the difference. This is Agidigbo News, 88.7 FM, the people's voice.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Good evening, welcome to News Around the World on Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan, the most listened to radio station. I am Wuraola Yusuff. The headlines: FCCPC, Lascopa unite against consumer exploitation. Oyo, NSCDC push intelligence to secure schools. Russia charges Telegram founder with facilitating terrorism. Trump warns Iran amid fresh fighting in region. Madrigal vows a Super Falcons recovery after Malawi shock. And now the details. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has partnered with the Lagos State Consumer Protection Agency, LASCOPA, to tackle challenges faced by consumers at marketplaces such as price tagging, minimum labeling requirements, and return and refund obligations. Speaking during a stakeholders engagement today in Ikeja, organized by the FCCPC in partnership with LASCOPA, the Executive Vice Chairman of the FCCPC, Mr. Tunji Bello, said that in Lagos, which is the commercial center of Nigeria, millions of transactions take place across its markets, supermarkets, shopping malls, neighborhood stores, and online platforms daily. Mr. Bello, represented at the event by the Southwest Coordinator of the SCCPC, Olubomi Oti, added that those transactions drive economic growth, create jobs, and support livelihoods, stressing that they also depend on one essential ingredient: trust. The SCCPC boss also reiterated that the purpose of the meeting is not simply to remind businesses of their legal obligations, but rather to have an honest conversation about why these obligations matter, how to protect both consumers and businesses, and what could be done to improve compliance. As economic challenges continue to affect the cost of doing business across Nigeria, many street vendors are striving to sustain their livelihoods despite rising prices and limited financial support. While the amount requirement to start a street vending business varies depending on the type of goods being sold, many traders continue to reinvest their earnings to keep their businesses running and meet the needs of their customers. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Temitope Mustafa spoke with some street vendors to learn about the capital they invested, the challenges they face, and how they have managed to sustain their businesses. Here's the report.
Starting a street vending business requires an initial investment, which varies depending on the type of goods being sold. Some vendors begin with as little as 20,000 naira to 50,000 naira, while others may need 100,000 naira or more to purchase goods, equipment, and other essentials. The amount often depends on whether the business involves selling food, clothing, fruits, beverages, or other products. To keep businesses running, street vendors continue to invest in purchasing fresh stock, replacing worn-out equipment, and maintaining items such as tables, umbrellas, carts, and other containers. Despite these investments, many street vendors face challenges such as rising prices of goods, inflation, low patronage, and limited access to financial support. In an interview with Agidigbo FM, Ms. Hidowu said she has invested up to 20,000 naira in her business, She explained that she is hardworking and constantly reinvests her earnings by purchasing more goods whenever she makes a profit.
I used 200,000 naira to start my business, which engaged in hawking after getting my goods from the market.
Speaking in an interview with Agrigo FM News, well-meaning Nigerians shared how they have been managing their small businesses. Mrs. Kabira said she started her business with 30,000 naira. She noted that hard work and moving her around to attract customers have helped her sustain her business. Similarly, Mrs. Tawa also said she started with 30,000 naira, adding that the more capital invested in business, the greater the profit she expects to make.
My handwork and moving around to attract customers has helped me sustain the business.
In another interview with Agribo FM, Mrs. Karim, who sells fish, she said initially bought fish worth 10,000 naira when she started.
I sell fish, both smoked fish, fried fish, and catfish, which I use the amount of 7,000 naira to start.
Findings from the interviews revealed that the amount required to start a street vending business varies depending on the type of goods being sold, with many vendors investing between tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of naira. To keep their businesses running, they continuously reinvest in purchasing goods, replacing equipment, and covering daily operating expenses. Despite challenges such as rising prices and economic hardship, these vendors remain committed to their businesses, demonstrating resilience and determination to earn a living and support their families. Temitope Mustafa, Agidigbo FM News.
The Oyo State government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening safety and child protection in schools, calling for stronger collaboration among security agencies, school authorities, and communities to safeguard educational institutions across the state. Speaking during a one-day seminar organized by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC in collaboration with the Oyo State Ministry of Education, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde, represented by the Head of Operations, Oyo State Security Trust Fund, Mr. Akinwedele, said his admiration would continue to support initiatives aimed at protecting learners, teachers, and educational facilities across the state. Representing the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Olusegun Olaiwola, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Mrs. Bamidele Onyeloye, described school safety as a shared responsibility, urging administrators to implement safety measures against all forms of threats to education in the state. Speaking on behalf of the Oyo State Commandant, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Augustine Padono, the Deputy Commandant of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Timothy Patola, encouraged schools and residents to provide timely intelligence to prevent security breaches. The head of pediatrics at Adeoyo Maternity Hospital, Yemetu Ibadan, Mrs. Asiata Anila, has advised the residents to visit hospitals for proper diagnosis whenever they experience symptoms, signs, or unusual changes in their bodies, warning that self-medication is unreliable during the season and could cause more harm than good. Speaking with Agribo FM News, Mrs. Anila expressed concern over the rising practice of treating every fever and body ache as malaria without medical confirmation, noting that this has contributed to malaria parasite resistance to the drugs we previously used to treat diseases.
Now, by the time the patient the individual sleeps under an insecticide-treated mosquito net, the mosquito will not have access to the individual, and as a result, it can be prevented in that way. Then, secondly, we know that most of these mosquitoes, they breed in a dirty environment, especially where there is stagnant water. So, in order to prevent this, we make sure that we get rid of all stagnant water in the environment.
The medical practitioner further urged the public to adopt preventive measures to curb illness during the season, advising individuals to keep the environment clean, free of waste and stagnant water, and to make consistent use of mosquito nets and other preventive methods. Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Williams Studio at Gidigbo FM at night. During the trial opening, prosecutors said the suspect was recruited by the Foxtrot network, which was described as a Swedish organized crime group backed by the Iranian government. The court heard how the Foxtrot network had been sanctioned by both the United Kingdom and the US for its close links to the Iranian government. Justice Grob ordered a full report on the suspect and remanded him into custody while he is due to be sentenced in October. Pavel Durov, the founder and chief executive of the encrypted messaging app Telegram, has been charged with aiding terrorism by Russia's security agency. Mr. Durov, who was born in Russia but holds Emirati and French passport, could face up to life in prison if he is committed. Moscow has issued an international warrant for the 41-year-old billionaire's arrest. United Kingdom, I am Olushola Damilola.
Welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kole Amzat Studio, Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Wuraola Yusuff.
U.S. President Donald Trump promised retribution after the U.S. military said it intercepted a surprise attack by Iran on its forces, ending days of relative calm in the Middle East. Jordan's military said it intercepted and brought down 5 missiles launched from Iran early Wednesday. U.S. Central Command also said Saudi Arabian forces joined strikes against the Iran-allied Popular Mobilization Force, PMF, in Iraq. The PMF said at least 20 people were killed so far. Saudi Arabia has largely resisted being pulled fully into the Middle East conflict. Oil prices rose in the wake of the renewed fighting. Tankers are looking for new shipping routes as transit of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait have sharply fallen since the Houthis blockade against Saudi port were announced, and Strait of Hormuz traffic remains very low.
A move that critics say could pave the way for Tshisekedi to seek a third term. Proposed constitutional reforms triggered opposition-led protests in the capital, Kinshasa, on June 12 that were dispersed by security forces. Demonstrators carried banners reading "No to constitutional change" and "No to a referendum and a third term." They also called for the UN to lift sanctions imposed this month on AFC M23 leader Cornelio Nangaa and the group. Congolese government spokesperson Patrick Muyaya accused the rebels, 2 residents, to join the demonstrations in a post on X.
And that ends the news from Kole Amzat Studio, Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Wuraola Yusuff.
And now in the exciting world of sports. Nigeria head coach Jose Madugu has vowed that the Super Falcons will recover from their shock 3-2 defeat to Malawi in their opening match at WAFCON 2026. The defending champions have suffered their first ever loss, the WAFCON debutant, as Malawi stunned the 10-time champions in Rabat, marking the first time the Super Falcons had conceded 3 goals in a WAFCON match. Speaking after the game, Madugu praised his players' effort despite the defeat and admitted that costly mistakes proved decisive against the Scorchers, defending his tactical decisions, dismissing criticism of Michel Alozier's role and explaining Christy Uchebe's deployment in central defense. On Deborah Abiodun's limited involvement, Madugu explained that the midfielder's late arrival in camp affected our preparation for the game, insisting that Nigeria did not underestimate Malawi, praising the Scorchers' preparation and development in recent years. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. FCCPC, LASCOPA unite against consumer exploitation. Oyo, NSCDC push intelligence to secure schools. Russia charges Telegram founder with facilitating terrorism. Trump warns Iran amid fresh fighting in region. Madugu vows a Super Falcons recovery after Malawi shock.
Don't forget that you can listen to us live on our website www.agidigbo88.7fm.com. You can also download our mobile app on Google Play Store and iOS. Simply search for Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Follow us on Facebook at Agidigbo 88.7 FM, on Twitter and Instagram at Agidigbo 887 FM, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have news stories and tips news for us, contact our newsroom on 070-8714-4865 or send us a mail on newsroom@agidigbo887fm.com.
And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Keep going. Every small effort builds your strength for tomorrow. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on Agidigbo 88.7 FM Ibadan, the most listened to radio station. I am Wuraola Yusuff. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission, OISEC, has called for continuous collaboration.
We bring you reports from Oyo State.
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
Southwest Nigeria and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice.